this planet to teach us the solution to any problem we might have. This is why the Native American Indians were so awesome and had the answers to solutions. And it's very interesting as to their unwillingness to accept what was before their very eyes that actually caused their own extinction. You have to understand that the belief systems and the perceptions that the Native American Indians decided to fall into predestined them to extinction. It was just karmic that it happened to come through the Caucasians. Okay, and this is very interesting because when we begin to look at the destiny and the future of the African, we have also set ourselves up in the same position. So when we begin to see a fertilized egg multiply, as it first develops, and if you put all these different levels of animals zoologically together as far as their ovum development, you cannot tell the same at a particular stage until that ovum develops beyond that point, or even it will actually develop into that particular animal. So you have to understand how awesome that is, because that means in here, you know and have the capacity to actualize any particular activity that any animal on this planet can execute. You've got to understand that, and you have to understand then where those cells, that information is logged into your brain. Because when you understand where it is in your brain, once you're able to actualize the thought, you can activate that part of the brain to allow you to experience and execute that particular activity. So obviously Magic Johnson and all these other people that have these great feats, they can leap around like, what are those called, the praying mantis and etc. That's all part of actually the structure that's prevalent and present in their brain. This is no just, haphazard thing that they have. This is quite physiologically present. But there's something known that's very interesting that's known as conscious and unconscious, how can I say, mastery or competence. Okay, we can be unconsciously competent, and it is our responsibility to be consciously competent. Okay, because unconscious competency comes from the right brain. Okay, however, when you are asked to elucidate that step by step at the same degree and the same state of accuracy, unless you can identify each stage and then impart that to your left brain, your degree of competency will vary. Now, so you have to understand what I'm really describing, because what I'm really describing to you is a feat of left and right brain hemisphere integration that is common in the Orientals. That's their capacity. They have the capacity, once they are exposed to something intuitively, to be able to understand precisely left brain-wise how that was created and reproduce innumerable reproductions that only they can really tell you what the original is. And that comes from integration of the left and right hemispheres through the corpus callosum development and a few other neurologic areas that have become developed because of their cultural lifestyle. So brainstem is reptilian. So whatever a reptile can do, you can do. Now see, that's awesome when you recognize that that's not even in your head yet. We're talking about brainstem. We haven't even gotten into the brain yet. Okay. Now it's very interesting when you begin to also notice the reptiles, because the reptiles primarily stay by themselves. You do not see reptiles together except for two reasons: for defense and mating. Okay, so we understand then what the behavior, the personality of a reptilian personality is going to be. Okay, and that's awesome. What does the state of consciousness of the reptile deal with? What is safe and what is not? Those are the two main perceptions that determine their entire life. I see, that's awesome. Okay, because that lets me know that when I go to visit somebody's house, and it has more locks and grids and things on it, okay, than Fort Knox, I automatically understand what level of brain function they're primarily actualized in and where they are stuck in what circuit. Okay, this is awesome. And what's so interesting is that they have also identified substances, chemicals, that will actually keep you in these particular states. Okay? Now, second circuit is the insect. Brain capacity of the insect is second circuit. and that is the medulla. Okay, right in the entrance of the magnum. Insects come together and work as a group because they understand that by group effort, they are able to actualize a quality of life that is more comfortable than if they did it themselves. Okay? However, it's very clear that that insects have no emotional bond to one another. That is to say that once the agreement is made for whatever the act is going to be done, if you abort the activity before the act is done, you are killed. And you can buy an ant farm and observe that. Okay, when it's understood that there's food to be brought in to the nest, and an ant goes out and there's still food left, and this ant has no food, they kill him. His head is taken off. Okay, so it's understood that it becomes very interesting that second circuit function is that we have individuals who interact with other people for the benefit of a increased quality lifestyle and also to give themselves meaning. Now see, this is very interesting because you get hooked in the second circuit. That means that your sense of self, your personal desires, the things that you might want to do for yourself will all become subordinate to whatever the group says. And I see that so many times with people dealing with the church. They're so busy in the church, their home falls down on the ground. Okay, they're so busy on their job, their home falls down on the ground, along with their health. Whatever it is that you are deciding that defines who you are to be able to what you think have a higher quality lifestyle is stuck in the second circuit. Okay, now, it's very interesting because this is where alcohol works. Okay, and alcohol basically, well, let me take that back. Alcohol is more so first circuit. Okay, we have drugs like heroin, etc., that work on second circuit. Okay, third circuit deals with the intellect. These are individuals that if you can't read it, if it hasn't been researched and there's some type of documentation from someone else who said it, then you don't believe it. Okay, this is the intellect and this is the avian. This is bird brain mentality. Okay? Now, that is a very controlling mechanism. Okay, and this is where cocaine comes in. Okay, because these are the individuals that get super ego tripped, and once they think they know something, they can do whatever they want to, etc., and do this over and over again. Okay, but this deals with the intellect. If I can't read it, if it can't be proven to me, etc., based on whatever I think proof is, that it doesn't exist. Third circuit, and many of us are caught into that. That's why we feel, for example, that we don't amount to much if we don't have whatever society says is important for you to be an educated person. Now, we know with the number of universities on this planet and with the problems on this planet that obviously having a degree means nothing. And it's amazing to me to see the number of Africans who still continue to barge their way into these institutions looking for answers when it's demonstrated every minute on CNN that they don't have them. Okay, this is very, very awesome. So when we understand that there is information there, but you have to understand that there is a state of consciousness that one has to go to get the information, okay, and be able to come out with it with very little mental distortion, because there's a big aspect of education that definitely deals with the implantation of social morals and norms for larger economic and political use at a later date. Now, what begins to get so interesting is that when we begin to move, and so I just want to say that third circuit is cerebellum. Fourth circuit now, we finally move into the occipital aspect of the brain. Finally, it's gotten in up here. That is fourth circuit, and fourth circuit deals with the emotions. This is the capacity to truly know kinesthetically what's happening anywhere in the world. Now, I think the Western world is very, very interesting because fourth circuit is something that is condemned literally in this society for you to function on. Okay, I mean, Tina Turner talks about what does love have to do with it? So she'll immediately tell you that your decision should be made from third circuit, not fourth. Okay, understand that Fourth Circuit deals directly with heart and knowingness and the center where the divine intelligence really resides. The Native American Indians can tell you that decisions should be made from the heart. After the brain gives you the information, the final decisions are made from the heart space, never from the head, never from Third Circuit. But when we have individuals who now are incapable of expressing their true emotions, no camaraderie with others, lack of intimacy, etc., they are truly locked out of Fourth Circuit. Now, this is interesting. It's only one drug they talk about that has the capacity to immediately move you into the Fourth Circuit, and that happens to be marijuana. However, the capacity for most people to actually get pure marijuana, because in this country, as much as they can, they douse it with something known as paraquat that immediately is toxic to the Fourth Circuit of the brain. So if you're dealing with that here, you are actually poisoning yourself and bringing about destruction because of what they hook on to the THC molecule. But the capacity to finally move into the Fourth Circuit where you do allow your feelings to be your guide as to who's who and what it is to do is very paramount to be able to access womanhood, manhood, kingship, queenship, and then finally God and God essence. So then moving into the Fifth Circuit deals with pure intuition. Intuition, if you look at the Webster's Dictionary, is pure knowingness.
You know what? I hate to cut her off because she is really very brilliant and I could just let her go and leave it alone. But I want to tell you something. That remark that she just made about marijuana helping to push you into a higher brain frequency, I know for a fact it's true. Because, you know, I wanted to stop smoking marijuana at one time. I really did, because I was reading all the books and everything and listening to everybody around me. So you know what? I straight cold turkey stopped smoking it. But do you not know the universe wanted me to smoke it? I swear, I'm not lying to you. I had a job doing security work. And no matter where I went, I had quit smoking for almost 2 years. It was like 16 months, 17 months, somewhere in there. But do you not know the more I studied metaphysics, the more I started running it? One time I found so much hash. I was a security guard. I found so much hash in the building. It was pathetic. I picked it up and I looked at it. I said, now when I used to smoke this shit, I would have never been able to find this much hash. You're not going to believe this. Let me tell you what I did with it. My vibrations at the time was like, I'm not going to smoke it and I'm not giving it to nobody else either. You know, believe it or not, I took all that hash, which was probably about $200 worth. I swear, I'm not lying to you. I found that shit in a parking lot by a real expensive car. I think it was a damn Lamborghini. And I was walking around doing my log, making a log entry of all the cars that was in the parking structure. And right next to that Lamborghini, on the ground right there, was that bag of hash. I could not believe it. I picked it up and I put it in my pocket. And you know, I was getting ready to go to the office and turn it into the office. But then I said to myself, I'm not even going to do that because I'm going to have to do all this stupid ass paperwork that I don't even want to do. I'm getting off work in 15 minutes and I don't want to get stuck with 30 minutes of paperwork, because if I would have turned that in, believe me, I would have had to make an incident report. So you know what I did? I thought you should go give it to your homie Nantumbo. Then I said, nope, I'm not going to give it to him either because I hope that he stops smoking it. That's where my mind was at. I took that shit and I threw it in the garbage can. I swear I am not lying. That much hash. I didn't want to sell it to no one. I didn't want to give it to anyone because at the time I was thinking it was so bad. So I threw the shit away. Okay? Watch this. I guess 3 or 4 more times I ran into Bud in the same building, the same parking structure that I worked in. I just kept finding Bud. I said, I can't believe this. I kept throwing it in the garbage. I finally left Hawaii. No, wait. First I found something in Hawaii a lot, but then I finally left. I stopped smoking when I was in Hawaii. I finally left Hawaii and I came to LA. I kept finding it in LA. And then, you know, one day I was at home. I said, now why do you keep